Have you ever looked at your dying tomato plants and wondered if you are running a garden or a chemical testing facility? Are you ready to throw away every single bottle of toxic garden spray you currently own? Because today, we are doing exactly that. We are talking about the ultimate #1 replacement for all your seasonal plant treatments. I promise you, by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to protect your entire garden using just one incredibly simple, completely natural method. Here is a wild thought for you. Do you really think plants in a wild forest need expensive synthetic sprays to survive? Of course not. We have been completely brainwashed into thinking we need a different plastic bottle for every single bug that visits our yard. I am going to reveal a secret that the big garden chemical companies hope you never find out. So tell me in the comments right now, how much money do you think you wasted on garden sprays last year? Be honest! Now, let us dive into the truth. To truly understand why we need to make this change, we have to look back at how gardening became so complicated. Decades ago, massive agricultural companies realized they could bottle up synthetic chemicals and sell them to everyday homeowners. They created a culture of fear. They told us that if we saw one single bug, our entire crop was doomed. This led to the creation of broad-spectrum pesticides. These are chemicals designed to wipe out everything they touch. But nature does not work like a sterile laboratory. In the natural world, plants have their own built-in defense mechanisms, and they rely on a complex web of beneficial insects and healthy soil microbes to stay strong. When we spray toxic chemicals, we are actually destroying the plant's natural immune system and killing the good bugs that would normally eat the pests. Today we are going back to the roots of true organic agriculture. We are going to introduce you to a concept that works with nature, not against it, using a single, powerful ingredient that has been trusted for centuries in traditional farming. Let us walk through a familiar scenario. You walk into your local garden center, and you are immediately faced with a giant wall of brightly colored plastic bottles. There is one spray for aphids, another spray for spider mites, a powder for caterpillars, and a completely different expensive liquid for fungal diseases. It is overwhelming, and it is designed to be exactly that way. The industry wants you confused. But what if I told you that this is the biggest myth in modern gardening? You absolutely do not need a massive arsenal of specific poisons. The truth is, all of these problems share common biological weaknesses. When you understand how insects and fungi actually operate, you realize that a single, well-crafted natural barrier can handle almost all of them. Think of it like taking a daily vitamin for your own health, rather than taking 10 different medications after you are already sick. We are going to replace that entire shelf of toxic bottles with something you can easily make yourself. Now, let us talk about the collateral damage of those store-bought chemicals. Have you ever sprayed an insecticide on your roses and then noticed that the bees stopped coming around? This is a heartbreaking reality. Synthetic chemicals do not care what they kill. They are indiscriminate killers. They wipe out the aphids, yes, but they also poison the ladybugs, the lacewings, and the crucial pollinators that our food supply depends on. There is a persistent myth that if a product is sold in a store, it must be perfectly safe for the environment. That is completely false. Every time you spray those chemicals, you are breaking the delicate food chain in your backyard. If you kill all the predatory insects, the pests will return twice as fast the next time because they have zero natural enemies left. Our top one replacement method entirely avoids this cycle of destruction. It specifically targets the bad bugs while leaving the beneficial ecosystem completely intact. So, what is the secret to this natural resilience? We have to look at how wild plants survive. Deep in the forest, no one is walking around with a pump sprayer. Wild plants produce their own essential oils, sticky saps, and strong scents to repel invaders. They have built-in armor. Our goal is not to reinvent the wheel, but simply to borrow nature's best armor and apply it to our domestic plants. The solution we are talking about today uses the exact same principles. We are essentially giving our tomatoes, peppers, and indoor monsteras a concentrated dose of nature's own defense mechanism. By applying this single natural treatment, we coat the leaves in a protective layer that makes the plant completely unappetizing and uninhabitable for pests. It is a proactive approach, rather than a frantic, reactive panic when you see a chewed leaf. It is time for the big reveal. The absolute top one replacement for all your chemical treatments is a perfectly balanced mixture of pure, cold-pressed neem oil, a tiny bit of liquid Castile soap, and water. That is it. That is the magic trio. Neem oil comes from the seeds of the neem tree, which is native to India and has been used for thousands of years in agriculture and medicine. But do not be fooled by its simple origins. This stuff is a powerhouse. The reason it is the number one choice is because it acts as a 3-in-1 miracle. It is an insecticide, a fungicide, and a miticide all rolled into one natural package. When you combine high-quality neem oil with a pure, gentle soap like Castile, you create a solution that can take down almost any garden enemy without poisoning the earth. It is the ultimate Swiss Army knife for plant lovers. Let us break down exactly how this miracle oil defeats insects. This is fascinating science. Synthetic chemicals work by poisoning the bug's nervous system instantly upon contact. Neem oil works completely differently. It contains an active compound called azadirachtin. When an insect like an aphid or a whitefly takes a bite of a leaf treated with neem, this compound enters their system and mimics their own natural hormones. It literally tricks their brains. The insect suddenly forgets how to eat, it forgets how to mate, and it forgets how to lay eggs. It is a brilliant, non-toxic disruption. The myth here is that a good pesticide must kill bugs the second it touches them. Real sustainable pest control is about stopping the next generation from ever being born. The bugs simply starve to death over a few days, and the infestation quietly collapses without leaving toxic residue behind. But this single treatment is not just for insects. Let us talk about fungal diseases, which are the nightmare of every vegetable gardener. Have you ever seen white powdery spots spreading all over your zucchini or cucumber leaves? That is powdery mildew, and it can ruin an entire crop in a week. Or perhaps you have battled black spot on your prize-winning roses. Here is where our neem oil mixture shows its true versatility. When you spray this mixture, the oil creates a microscopic, physical barrier over the surface of the leaf. Fungal spores need moisture and a specific environment to attach and grow. The oil changes the surface tension and simply smothers the fungal spores before they can multiply. It literally suffocates the disease. You do not need a separate, expensive fungicide from the store. This one mixture protects against bugs and fungus at the exact same time. Now you might be wondering, if it is so powerful, why doesn't it hurt the good bugs like bees and ladybugs? This is the most beautiful part of this method. Neem oil only targets insects that actively chew or suck on the plant's leaves and stems. Bees are just there to drink nectar and gather pollen. Ladybugs are there to hunt other bugs. They do not eat the plant tissue. Furthermore, once our mixture dries on the leaves, it leaves no dangerous contact poison behind. If a bee lands on a dried, treated leaf, it is perfectly safe. The trick is simply to spray your plants in the evening when the bees have gone to sleep. By the time the sun comes up and the pollinators return, the spray has dried into a safe, invisible shield. We are finally debunking the myth that pest control has to mean war on all insects. You can protect your harvest and save the bees simultaneously. Let us get to the practical part. How do we actually make this powerful shield? The recipe is incredibly simple, but the ratios matter. You will need a 1-gallon pump sprayer or an old milk jug. Fill it with 1 gallon of lukewarm water. The water cannot be freezing cold, or the oil will harden. Add exactly 1 tablespoon of pure, cold-pressed neem oil. Then add 1 teaspoon of pure liquid Castile soap. or any mild, natural dish soap without harsh degreasers. Gently shake the mixture until it turns a cloudy, milky white color. That is your golden ticket right there. No complicated chemistry, no hazmat suit required. You have just created a premium, highly effective garden spray for pennies on the dollar. The process is so safe and easy that you can mix it right on your kitchen counter without worrying about toxic fumes. You might be tempted to skip the soap, but let me explain why the soap is the unsung hero of this operation. As you know from cooking, oil and water naturally hate each other. If you just put neem oil and water in a bottle, the oil will float to the top. If you spray that on a plant, you will either spray pure water, which does nothing, or pure oil, which will burn the leaves. The soap acts as an emulsifier. It binds the tiny oil molecules to the water molecules, creating a stable, even mixture. Think of it like making a perfect salad dressing. The soap ensures that every single drop of water coming out of your nozzle carries the exact right amount of protective oil. Plus, the soap itself helps to break down the protective outer shell of soft-bodied insects. It is a crucial team effort. Having the right mixture is only half the battle. The art of spraying is where most beginners make their biggest mistake. People often just walk by and mist the tops of the leaves, hoping for the best. Pests are much smarter than that. Spider mites and aphids are cowards. They hide on the completely shaded undersides of the leaves and deep within the crevices of the stems. If you want this one treatment to replace all others, you must be thorough. You need to adjust your spray nozzle to a fine mist and physically lift the leaves. Spray the undersides, spray the main trunk, and spray the soil surface. You want the plant to be dripping wet. Think of it like giving your plant a complete, protective bath. A half-hearted spray job will leave safe havens for pests to multiply, so take your time and be meticulous. Timing is absolutely everything when it comes to replacing chemical treatments. There is a golden rule you must follow. Never spray your plants in the middle of a hot, sunny day. If you spray oil and water onto a leaf while the sun is beating down on it, those tiny water droplets will act like magnifying glasses. The intense heat combined with the oil will literally deep fry your leaves, causing severe sunburn and damage. You will think the spray killed your plant, but it was actually the sun. The absolute best time to apply this universal treatment is in the late evening, just as the sun is setting. This gives the mixture the entire cool, dark night to soak into the leaves, do its work on the hiding pests, and dry completely before the morning sun hits it. Patience and timing are your best tools. One of the most destructive gardening myths is that you should only apply treatments when you see an active infestation. By the time you notice your leaves curling and turning yellow, the pests have already established a massive colony. Our natural method shines brightest when used as a preventative measure. You should start spraying your seedlings early in the spring, before you even see a single bug. By applying this light mixture every 2 weeks from the very beginning, you are building up the plant's defenses. You are putting up a massive no vacancy sign for incoming pests. The bugs will land, take one sniff of the treated leaf, realize there is no easy food here, and fly away to your neighbor's unprotected garden instead. Prevention is always cheaper and easier than trying to cure a dying plant. Do not think for a second that this is only for outdoor vegetable gardens. This one solution is the absolute savior for indoor houseplant lovers as well. During the winter, when the heat is running in our homes, the air gets very dry. This is the perfect breeding ground for indoor pests like spider mites and annoying fungus gnats that fly out of the soil every time you water. Instead of spraying toxic aerosols in your living room where your pets and children sleep, you can use this exact same natural neem mixture. You can wipe down the giant leaves of your monstera with it, or spray the soil of your pothos to kill gnat larvae. It cleans the dust off the leaves, giving them a beautiful natural shine, while quietly eradicating any indoor bug problems. It bridges the gap between outdoor farming and indoor jungle care. We need to talk about the one thing people notice first when they use pure, cold-pressed neem oil. It has a very distinct smell. Some people describe it as a mix between strong garlic and burnt nuts. It is definitely earthy and potent. But let me reframe this for you. That strong smell is exactly what confuses and repels the insects. It masks the natural sweet scent of your plants. Yes, your garden might smell a little bit like a garlic farm for a few hours after you spray, but the smell dissipates very quickly as it dries. Ask yourself, would you rather have a temporary, natural, earthy smell in your yard for one evening, or invisible, odorless synthetic toxins lingering on the food you are about to feed your family? The scent is the smell of victory. It is the smell of a healthy, safe, and organic garden. Let us look at the pure economics of making this switch. Gardening is supposed to save you money on groceries, but if you are buying chemical sprays, you are operating at a massive loss. A small pre-mixed bottle of chemical insecticide at the hardware store can easily cost $15 to $20, and it might only last you a few weeks. Conversely, a bottle of pure concentrated neem oil and a bottle of Castile soap might cost you $25 up front. But here is the catch. Because you are only using 1 tablespoon at a time, those 2 bottles will easily make 30 to 40 gallons of high-quality spray. You are dropping your cost per gallon down to mere pennies. Over a single growing season, this one natural swap will save you hundreds of dollars, while giving you far better, healthier results. There is a secret, advanced technique for using this mixture that most people completely ignore. It is called soil drenching. Sometimes the worst pests are not on the leaves, they are attacking from below. Root aphids and certain fungal diseases live deep in the soil, slowly destroying the plant's root system. When you face this, you can take your mixed neem solution and pour it directly into the soil like you are watering the plant. The roots will actually absorb the active compounds and pull them up into the internal vascular system of the plant. The plant literally becomes naturally resistant from the inside out. Any pest that tries to bite the roots or the stem will get a dose of the compound and stop feeding. This systemic approach is something chemical sprays struggle to do safely, but nature does it perfectly. A very important rule for this one-stop solution is understanding its shelf life. You cannot mix up a huge 5-gallon bucket of this solution and leave it sitting in your hot garage for a month. The natural active compounds in neem oil begin to break down and lose their effectiveness within roughly 8 to 12 hours after being mixed with water. If you use old, stale spray, you are just spraying smelly water. The trick is to only mix exactly what you need for that specific day. If you only have a few balcony plants, just mix a tiny amount in a small handheld spray bottle. Freshness is the key to its power. Treat mixing your natural spray like making a fresh cup of tea. You want to use it while it is at its absolute peak potency to get the maximum protective effect. But what happens if you are watching this video and you already have a massive, terrifying infestation? What if your beloved lemon tree is absolutely covered in a thick layer of sticky aphids? Do not panic, and do not reach for the chemical poison. You can still fix this naturally, but you need to understand the 3-day rule. Because our natural mixture does not kill instantly, you need persistence. First, use a strong blast of plain water from the hose to physically knock off as many bugs as possible. Then, apply a heavy, thorough soaking of your neem mixture. Wait 3 days and spray it again. Wait another 3 days and spray it a 3rd time. This breaks the life cycle. You will catch the adults, then the newly hatched eggs, and finally, the stragglers. I have seen plants that looked completely dead bounce back to vibrant life using this exact persistent method. When you stop buying chemicals and switch to this one natural treatment, something amazing happens in your yard. You stop fighting a war, and you start building a mini ecosystem. Because you are no longer laying down a blanket of poison, the natural predators will slowly return. One day you will walk out and see a praying mantis hunting in your peppers. you will see tiny parasitic wasps handling the caterpillars for you. You will notice fat, healthy earthworms turning your soil. Your garden will find its own natural balance. The neem oil spray is just your helpful tool to tip the scales in your favor when things get a little out of hand. You will no longer panic when you see a single chewed leaf, because you know your garden's immune system is strong and supported. The ultimate proof of this method is in the harvest. Think about pulling a warm red tomato off the vine, wiping it on your shirt, and taking a bite right there in the garden. If you used synthetic chemicals, you would have to scrub that fruit with soap to avoid eating pesticide residue. When you use this natural one-ingredient replacement, you can eat your harvest with complete peace of mind. You have stepped away from the toxic marketing machine. You have taken control of your own food supply using the brilliant, simple tools that nature provided all along. This is the paradigm shift from being a stressed-out chemical warrior to becoming a relaxed, observant caretaker of the earth. And it all starts with making the decision to throw away those plastic bottles today. So, here is the ultimate turning point for your garden this year. We have taken that confusing, expensive wall of toxic chemicals and replaced it with one single, incredibly powerful natural recipe. By mixing just a little bit of cold-pressed neem oil, mild soap and water, you are unlocking a centuries-old secret that acts as an insecticide, fungicide, and systemic protector all at once. You are saving hundreds of dollars, protecting the delicate bees, and ensuring the food you feed your family is genuinely organic. The days of panicking over every little bug and rushing to the store for a new poison are officially over. It is time to let nature do the heavy lifting while you enjoy the incredible harvest you deserve. Thank you so much for watching and joining the natural gardening movement. If this video changed the way you look at plant care, please hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and share it with a friend who loves plants. Now, I want to hear from you. What is your absolute biggest gardening struggle right now? Is it aphids, powdery mildew, or something else? Drop your answer in the comments below, and let us solve it together naturally.